What's cracking, y'all? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know what it is. Your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. It's Thursday, so y'all know what we got to do. Trinity Talk Thursdays. Yes, I've been gone for a couple of weeks. 7-year wedding anniversary a couple weeks ago. And your boy was feeling kind of ill, but I'm back in the building, and I got a dope one for y'all today because we're going to talk about y'all's favorite players, man, the rookies. You want to talk about the rookies. You want to know which rookies are going to help you get you to the chip this year. And looking ahead in Dynasty, you're trying to find out which rookies are going to be there for you long-term, scoring you fantasy points. And there's no better place to be than right here because we have developed a tool, a score that you can access on the website for $9 a month. That is the best indicator and predictor of wide receiver success in fantasy football. It is the Trinity Score. For those of y'all who have been disconnected or maybe new to the channel, last 12 weeks, I've been posting videos talking about this tool, talking about the score, how predictive it is. It's basically showing you which wide receivers, independent and isolated to the quarterback, are doing wide receiver friendly shit to score you fantasy points. You want target share, air yards, targets per route run, all these different things. First read target share. We have packaged all of that up, tested against fantasy success, and built an elegant score and tool that you can use right now on DestinationDevy.com. So highly encourage you to go over there and do that. But we got a lot to get into. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to talk Trinity. And damn it, we got rookies. So let's get into it right now, baby. All right, let's pull up the tracker right now over on DestinationDevy.com. Get over there right now and get in on this. And we're going to start out looking at Trinity Score versus points per game through 14 weeks of the NFL season coming up now on week 15. And as you look at this chart, you see the different pockets and tiers based on the past 5 years of data, where your wide receiver ones, your elite guys, your wide receiver twos, your wide receiver threes. And let's talk about at the top of this list for the rookies, you got Puka Nacua right here at the top of the board. Trinity Score of 8.99. Remember, historically, over the past 5 years, Trinity Score of 9.1 or higher is top 6 level wide receiver stuff. So he's right on the cusp of that elite Trinity Score. Having that in his rookie season, unreal. Puka Nacua, I don't care if there's a down week or 2 down weeks. What I'm seeing and what we have seen and what this score is telling us right now is he's the real damn deal. He is doing things in his offense that are rivaling some of the best in fantasy football and some of the best in the NFL. So by and large, looking at what he scored this year, looking at where his Trinity is through 14 weeks of the NFL season, this is a great indicator that Puka Nacua is probably going to be really good again next season. And maybe some of the things that we don't track, like touchdowns and red zone or end zone target share, we don't have that track, but I can assume and take a logical step that if the offense is allowing him to earn the targets, receive the downfield work, do stuff after the catch, it's probably going to increase in other areas too. So just looking at the cream of the crop from this 23 class, I know we love us some Addison and JSN and Tank Dell, but the cream of the crop from the 2023 rookie class is undoubtedly Puka Nacua. That ain't no RayGQ bias. That's not me, my subjectivity. It is completely objective based on the data. Real freaking deal. Tank Dell, probably also real deal. High Trinity Score. We know he's out for the season. 8.05. This is really good for a rookie wide receiver, rookie third-round wide receiver to come in. And given his size, given all the things that from a fantasy perspective scared a lot of people off of early on, despite that, he was still able to earn an elite-type share of opportunity in his individual offense, enough to get him over an 8 Trinity score as a rookie. Very, very impressive. Tank Dell, real deal. But I do question, and we saw C.J. Stroud struggle without Dell, struggle without Nico Collins. We know that Robert Woods is not going to be a long-term fixture of that offense. Do they attack that position this draft season? C.J. Stroud looked very bad last week versus a great Jets defense, but the problem was he had no weapons. Nico Collins, the big thing with him has been the injury history historically. So you've got a wide receiver that's got an alpha size body at 6'4", 210 and Nico Collins, but maybe a little bit of an injury past. And then you've got the complete polar opposite, 5'8", 160-pound receiver that broke his leg this year. So this could be a spot where, looking at this situation, could Houston add another wide receiver via free agency or the rookie or NFL draft? I would say that chances are probably high that they do that. Now, moving down the board, just from a point per game perspective, you got Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Rashee Rice, next three up on the board. And we're going to talk about Rice a little bit. You see him right there on that regression line. Based on what he's doing, he's scoring you just about probably what he's earning in that offense. But you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their inability to put weapons around Patrick Mahomes, and you're seeing more opportunity, especially the last 3 weeks, for Rashee Rice, and not enough talk about Rashee Rice and what he's doing. Looking at some other names on the board that kind of stand out to me, there goes Parker Washington, a little bit of an outlier, 13 fantasy points per game. Low Trinity, he just got involved in the offense. You also see Jaden Reed, who a lot of people aren't talking about. He had a nice game on Monday night, but still, one of those players that a lot of people aren't mentioning in the same breath is Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison. And he's doing just as much as some of those guys, if not more. Probably needs a little more respect on his name, Jaden Reed. Josh Downs, you've got Jalen Hyatt, Pop Douglas down here. JSN, old Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 fantasy points a game, sub-6 Trinity score, not great. Then there's some names that really stick out to me that a lot of people have poo-pooed on, but I'm here to caution you, not so fast, my friend. Jonathan Mingo. Trinity is not much lower than that of Jackson Smith-Njigba. His points are, but he's doing roughly around what JSN is doing in his respective offense. And Quentin Johnston, a lot of people left him as a cast-off, as a rookie bust. But if you track this weekly, which we do have a weekly tracker here on the Trinity, it's going up. And when you're using that weekly comparison plot, that weekly tracker, what do I always say? You're looking for what I try to identify in the stock market if I'm bullish or bearish a stock. Higher highs, higher lows. That's what I'm looking for if I want to buy and go long. Lower highs and higher lows if I'm trying to sell. So looking at Quentin Johnston, he is starting to creep up just a tad bit. And now with Keenan Allen being injured, them having to turn to Easton Stick, I wonder if over the last 4 games, they just force feed their rookie first round pick to see what they have in this talented player. And I know a lot of people hate QJ, but I want y'all to think about the times that we make fun and there's memes and jokes. He's dropping a pass, but he's also dusted the cornerback and he's wide ass open. Catch the damn ball. Quentin Johnston, he catches or converts 2 of those long drops, turns those into touchdowns. He's got over 100 yards between those catches, 100-plus yards. His Trinity goes from here and is probably somewhere in this Michael Wilson, Josh Downs, Dontavian Wicks, Marvin Mims range, if not higher. So context is always important when you're looking at these players. Now, from this group, just looking at this, for me, my next logical step from what I'm going to do when I'm looking at these rookies is I want to see how y'all value them. I want to know how the community values these rookies right now. And I'll just say this. When you've got players where their score is sub-3, sub-4, so the Bouttes, the Darius Davises, the Yoshi Vosses, Tyler Scott, Charlie Jones, Raheem Jarrett, these are players that I just have little to no interest in. Even Trey Palmer, A.T. Perry, I know they're on the field playing, but like below that 3.5 range is just showing me your team, even here in week 15, they just have not given you much opportunity, which is telling me everything that I need to know. You're probably either not where you need to be from a development side, or you're just not that guy. So all of those guys back there, the Bouttes, the Tyler Scotts, the Charlie Joneses of the world, the Tillmans, I know he's getting on the field, but those are probably closer to cloggers than they are actual guys that are going to help you win weeks. So that's just my 2 cents on how to use this portion of the tool. But I go to KTC. I want to see what the community thinks. So here's what's happening. The actual points per game versus the score for the rookies right now. This is how Keep Trade Cut and people who go on that website, and I like to use it because it's a good sample size of community, a wide net, whether you agree or disagree, are how these players are valued. So immediately, you see Puka Nacua at one end of the spectrum, extremely high value, right? 56.84 KTC value. Right below him, you got Jordan Addison, 5,000. Zay Flowers over 5,000 points worth of value. Jackson Smith and Jigba value over 5,000. Rashee Rice significantly lower. So you go to the point per game tab. You see the ones that are actually scoring. There's your wide receiver 1. There's your wide receiver 2. There's your wide receiver 3, 4, 5. Addison, Rice, Flowers, Dell, Nakua. Those are the guys that are scoring you the points, doing the things in the offense. You go to the value. It's Puka Nacua, Flowers, Addison, and JSN as your top valued players according to Keep Trade Cut, followed by Rashee Rice. You've got Jaden Reed there. Josh Downs still really high. Take a look at this one. Quentin Johnston. QJ is where my eyes gravitate to, and man, I can't believe I'm saying this type of stuff right now. But when I'm looking at what he's actually doing from a scoring perspective, right, here's QJ. Trinity Score 4.3, not great. 5.7 points per game, not good at all. But making higher highs for him and higher lows. I like what Quentin Johnston is doing over the past couple of weeks. I want to see how he finishes out the season. But what I will say is, based on where he's valued, when you've got Jalen Hyatt being valued right around the same, Marvin Mims, a little less value, right on par. Michael Wilson, Dontavian Wicks, all these guys are within the same value range. It makes me want to go get some cheap Quentin Johnston if I can. If I can get some cheap QJ, I would explore some opportunity to acquire him on the low for a manager who just wants to get out because they can't stand him. And I'm not sitting here telling you that Quentin Johnston is 1,000% going to become fantasy relevant and a star. But what I will say is, even some of the biggest wide receiver busts that we've seen over the last 10 years, going into their second season, there was still hype and enthusiasm and some level of optimism that they could elevate their game to another level. This is telling me that he's doing things better every single week. So I'm willing to give Quentin Johnston a little bit of grace to try out some things, see how the season finishes out. Same way I'm willing to do that with Jonathan Mingo. And you see him as well, valued even lower than Quentin Johnston, lower than Jalen Hyatt, Marvin Mims, Michael Wilson. And again, you go to this point per game chart to see what he's doing. Well, Trinity Score 5.48. It's not too far off from Michael Wilson, who's had, when you start to look inside of his numbers, 1 or 2 big blow-up games really helped propel this. But Marvin Mims, right, 6.3 points per game. That's not far off from what Jonathan Mingo is giving you at 6.1, but valued a little higher than that Jonathan Mingo. You go back to the KTC chart, and you see it, right? Marvin Mims right there. There he is. There's Jonathan Mingo with a little lower value. Dontavian Wicks, DeMario Douglas. Now, Pop Douglas is an interesting one because he's the only ticket in town in New England. He's missed the past couple of weeks with the concussion, but he's doing some decent stuff as well inside of his offense. You see this? This is a really good score for a rookie wide receiver that is undersized, not really dependent upon or counted upon coming into the season to be the guy, especially when you got Juju Smith-Schuster there, got the Devontae Parkers of the world in the building. Kendrick Bourne was there early. For him to have a score that rivals Jordan Addison, right, 6.89, Pop Douglas, 6.81, Zay Flowers, 7.2, 6.81, Rashee Rice, he's doing, let me tell you right now, DeMario Douglas, and we'll see this when we get to the data tab, is doing more in his offense from a wide receiver standpoint than Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice, right on par with the top 4 receivers from this class. Those are players I want to invest in. I know that the offense trusts him to earn targets, to get downfield work, to be schemed up touches. I understand that this score is telling me they trust him to do those things, but the reason why he's below that regression line, y'all, there's a common theme here. Let's go through it. Let's talk about it. Common theme, Puka Nacua. Amazing quarterback, Matthew Stafford, that's going to throw the ball 30 times, 35, 40 times a game. Tank Dell, amazing rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. Zay Flowers has Lamar Jackson. Addison was feasting with Kirk Cousins. Rashee Rice has Patrick Mahomes. Majority of the people that you see down here below this regression line, well, let's talk about Trey Tucker. Decent Trinity, awful quarterback. Mims, Quarterback, fine. They just don't throw the ball a ton. Jalen Hyatt, quarterback play, not good. Demario Douglas, maybe some of the worst quarterback play in the NFL. Josh Downs, Minshew's fine, but a little volatile, right? So that's why his point per game is decent at 10. Trinity score's not bad. Michael Wilson's just got Kyler Murray back, JSN, Geno Smith taking a little bit of a step back, Jonathan Mingo, Bryce Young, Jalen Brooks, we don't care. Dallas's 8th string wide receiver. QJ, some inconsistent quarterback play early on and inconsistent hands from him. So common differentiator is those that have good quarterback play, and that's why you see the outlier of Parker Washington. Even though he's not doing a ton in his offense, he's got a good quarterback that got him some touchdown opportunities. 2 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, high point per game, low Trinity. He's one where I'm willing to see what happens. With Christian Kirk being out, I'm interested to see what Parker Washington does over the next couple of weeks. Does he earn some more opportunity? Could be some hidden value off of waivers with Parker Washington. But let's pull up the data, because this is where the sausage is really made right here. So we're looking at this. We'll filter this by top Trinity scores. It's exactly what was on our sheet, exactly what we're looking at in the chart. And let's look at Demario Douglas. Let's just look at Demario Douglas versus his peers. And I always start out with the target share. So let's filter this out by the rookies with the highest amount of target share on their team. And there it is, just like the chart. He's being targeted at a higher clip than Rashee Rice, Trey Palmer, Hyatt, Wicks, QJ, all of those guys. Right on par with Reed, with Jackson Smith and Jigba. The only receivers in this 2023 rookie class that have a target share above 20%, which is very important in this Trinity tool, are Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, and Puka Nacua, pushing upwards of 30%, which is elite in all ranges, no matter if you're a rookie or a veteran. Air yard share, another very important metric inside of the Trinity. You've got Tank Dell, Puka Nacua. This is encouraging that Jalen Hyatt's got a 31.8% air yard share, but 10.5% target share, not going to get it done for Jalen Hyatt. This is my issue with Jordan Addison, and I know he's got high value. People love him, but his target share, sub 20%. That's just not good. And I'm not talking about what it's going to be for his career, but looking at where he's ranked and where he's valued amongst the dynasty community for a player that's got a sub 30% air yard share, a sub 20% target share, and he's not even one of the top yak earners from his class. This to me screams a little overvalued for Jordan Addison, a little bit of overvalue for Jordan Addison. His yak per reception, or yak share is roughly per reception is with Michael Wilson, Jonathan Mingo. QJ does more. Jaden Reed does more. Downs, Puka Nacua, Devontavian Wicks. Like, this is my issue with Jordan Addison. It has nothing to do with the talent. He was my wide receiver 3 in this class. It has everything to do, or wide receiver 2 in this class, it has everything to do with the opportunities that he's earning inside of that Minnesota offense. You look at the WAR per game, which one of these players are actually helping you win weeks? It's 2 guys. It was Puka Nacua, it's Tank Dell. Other than that, 0.07 WAR, 0.06 WAR, it's not a ton per game. Like the elite guys, you're talking Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're 0.2, 0.2, 0.18, 0.22, 0.24. These guys are much lower than that. But when you're looking at any hidden gems that you can find from a target share perspective, this is why you can't give up on a Jonathan Mingo. He's right there with Josh Downs, Jordan Addison. It's not Mingo himself, right? The Trinity is telling you what the receiver is doing, but you have to take into context the offense in which they play. The big difference, even though Jonathan Mingo's top 6 in target share from this rookie class, Bryce Young, Gardner Minshew, Kirk Cousins, Joshua Dobbs, C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford. There are some glaring names right there that just kind of stick out like a sore thumb. It's the Dobbs, it's the Jaren Halls, it's the life after Kirk Cousins, and it's Bryce Young with Jonathan Mingo. Not good. Let's go the opposite end of the spectrum and tell you why. The Tyler Scotts and the Marvin Mims. I mean, this is just tough to buy into. Marvin Mims, I like you, but your KTC value being where it is, Mims, and you look at him, I mean, shit, he's he's top 10 in value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Inside the top 10 in value. But look at that target share, 7%. Air yard share, 15%. Yak, really good. He gets the ball, he scores, but that's not going to cut it, folks. So if Marvin Mims has any value in your league, that's one I would not mind putting into a trade to package up and ship off. Cedric Tillman, sub 10% target share, not good. Quentin Johnston, 10% target share. Like these guys, right? The sub teners, it's almost like full freaking fade. When you're in this range, these 10, 11, 12, 13, can you tell yourself a story that their quarterback can be efficient enough to help them get there? And you look at this range right here, QJ, Wicks, Hyatt, Palmer, Michael Wilson, Rashee Rice. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that we do bet on. Quentin Johnson, let's see what he does over the next couple of weeks, but I like how he's been trending and tracking. Good yak. He's got really good yak per reception. Air yard share, not high at all. And the target share, sub 20%, not good. But the weekly incremental increases from a player that we cast off for dead, very positive in Quentin Johnston's direction. But you got Herbert. I can bet on Herbert. Jordan Love. I don't know. We'll see. Jalen Hyatt. I have no idea if we're going to bet on Tommy DeVito or Danny Dimes long term. Palmer and Baker Mayfield. Not a lot of interest there. He does nothing after the catch. Not a lot of downfield work. Michael Wilson with Kyler. Encouraging, but we'll see. And then here's the one, right? It's Rashee Rice with Patrick Mahomes. It's Rashee Rice with Patrick Mahomes. You look at what he's doing. He's giving you 12, expected 10. His value is 4,400. Positive WAR per game, so at least he's not losing you weeks. Air yard share, nothing. They don't even throw the ball downfield in Kansas City. Target share, 15%. Yak, top of the class. I mean, right there, number one in the class. Yak per reception, very good. Good for Demario Douglas as well. When you look at both of these two players, what's the difference between Pop and Rashee? Well, about 2,000 points worth of difference on KTC and the value that the community places on them. Air yard share, Pop Douglas, double Rashee Rice, right? Not quite double, but you get the point. 16.2 to 9.6. Target share, a little higher for Pop Douglas. Yak, right on par with Rashee Rice. So why is the point per game so low? Well, you look at what he's expected to do. He's expected to give you damn near exactly what Rashee Rice is doing. The problem is, higher Trinity, it's the quarterback play. His inefficient quarterback play with Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Pop Douglas. We go through this exercise. I want to buy him. I want to buy some Pop Douglas. Of all the receivers, Rashee Rice, if I can get me some of that, but Pop Douglas is still one of the ones that I want. Jackson Smith and Jigba. What's happening in this offense? Yak, really good for JSN. We knew he was good after the catch. You go his target share, creeping up. This is better. This is bullish. This is better. Air yard share, probably not going to be his forte long term, but amongst the 2023 wide receiver class, I mean, that's not high. Air yard share below Mims, below QJ, below Douglas. That's not his calling. It's not his claim to fame. And right now, he's projected, he's supposed to be getting you about 9 points, and he's underproducing just a tad bit, probably due to the fact that he is not receiving any of the downfield looks. It's just not his MO. Had a couple called back. If some of those touchdowns would have hit and come to fruition, he's looking like he's a little bit higher up than this. So as I do a quick snapshot and review of this rookie class, the receivers that I'm interested in going to acquire now for future dynasty purposes, and I'm not talking about giving up no significant capital to get these guys. Jaden Reed, really, really like what we're seeing out of young Deebo Samuel Jr., giving us 12.1 fantasy points per game. His yak, not too high, but target share, 16, air yard share, 18%. It's just not a lot going on. It's spread out all over the place in Green Bay. But Jaden Reed is one that I'm interested in. Jonathan Mingo. I mean, hell, if you can buy Puka Nacua, great. Pop Douglas, Quentin Johnston, even Jackson Smith and Jigba, a little bit of a buy if you can get them on a low for maybe if the Seattle Seahawks move on from DK Metcalf. We'll see how that goes. And then Rashee Rice down here, one of the ones that I think probably deserves a lot more love than he's receiving right now. You look at that KTC value, we flip that around again. Flowers and Reed back-to-back as far as KTC value. QJ down a little lower. Pop Douglas right around that Jonathan Mingo range. So these two, especially with Demario Douglas not playing the past couple of weeks, should not be a hard acquisition. QJ, nobody likes him, so you should be able to get him as well. Reed and Rice, we'll see. Depends on the manager, but both of these players still really good. JSN, cream of the crop. We'll see how people deal with him as far as 2024 is concerned. So wanted to just do a quick snapshot of the value, what these guys are doing, what the data is saying inside of the score. Man, Puka Nacua is such a good player. What a find if you were able to land Puka Nacua. 32% air yard share, 28% target share, and pretty damn comfortable and solid after the catch per reception. Puka Nacua, real damn deal. I challenge you. I advise you. I pressure you. Get on the website and play around with the tool. Help find and identify some receivers that you want to invest in. Scott Connor talked about this on last week's Dynasty Portfolio episode. Everybody knows what to do with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. They're studs. It's that middle cluster, that middle range where everybody's telling you Jalen Waddle is a top 5, top 8 Dynasty asset. Start to look at what they're doing and you start to question that. And are there some pivots that you can make with players that are valued under that Jalen Waddle, that Amon-Ra St. Brown, that are doing just as much, if not more, inside of their offenses, but have been marred by some bad QB play. And when you look at Pop Douglas, they're getting a QB upgrade, baby. Whether that's Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or Caleb Williams, they're getting a QB upgrade in 2024. Jordan Love should take another step forward next year to help out Jaden Reed. And you got Patrick Mahomes leading the way with Rashee Rice. Get on the website, destinationdevy.com. Try out the Trinity tool. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the content. We're back in the building. I'm feeling good, feeling great. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. And if you catch this after that, man, make sure y'all wake y'all asses up on Friday for Wake Up with Ray G and me and Jay Rich. Appreciate y'all being in the building. Y'all enjoy. I'm out. Peace.